We're ready.
Ready? Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Before we get started, please remember to mute your devices and turn off your video so that our sign language interpreter, Brenda, is able to appear on screen during the broadcast while the mayor speaks. You can unmute and restart your video when you're asking questions from the mayor. Mayor Gimenez will first speak in English and then take questions in English. Then he will speak in Spanish and take questions in Spanish. And that will be followed by Lionel Lerabour with the mayor's message in Creole for our Haitian media and residents. Mr. Mayor, out to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. We continue to monitor the daily hospitalizations of COVID-19 patients in Miami-Dade County, and there are some promising signs. However, I want to stress that no orders will be lifted as yet. We must continue to stay safer at home. And when going out for essential trips, you should be practicing social distancing and staying 6 feet apart from others and wear a mask when entering stores. Today I held another meeting with medical experts and with the Parks and Open Spaces work group to get their recommendations on for what activities we can allow under my Moving to a New Normal initiative. We're looking at 3 phases to open parks. We're also looking at phases to open boating, beaches, and golf. Each phase would occur when the medical experts say it is appropriate based on the spread of the virus being contained. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and the medical experts agree that parks can be open for passive activities such as walking, running, biking, and jumping rope. These open air activities are good for people's physical and mental health. However, for seniors and those with at-risk medical conditions, the CDC recommends that they wear a mask if they go outside. Other park activities that could be allowed in the first phase would be singles tennis and having no more than one person practicing, let's say, at a racquetball court. Groups of more than 10 people would not be allowed. Police would be enforcing these rules with zero tolerance. At this time, no contact sport would be allowed, such as basketball, baseball, soccer, and football. Gyms would continue to be closed. There's no way to practice social distancing and limit the spread of the virus in those kinds of activities. For boating, all vessels would have to remain 50 feet apart at all times, and there would be no drafting of the boats and no tying up of boats in Stiltsville. There would be capacity limits for all boats. For example, a 25-foot boat would have no more than 4 adults on that vessel to be able to have social distancing. For commercial fishing operations, there would be no more than 6 people allowed, including the captain and the mate, taking into account the boat's capacity. For marinas, ramps would be open during certain hours that are not yet finalized. People would have to keep social distance. We also discuss opening of beaches under certain limited conditions. We will be meeting again to explore this further. There are still a lot of questions about what's possible. Ideally, any opening of the beaches would be coordinated with our beachside cities and neighboring counties in Broward, Monroe, and Palm Beach. For golf, rental cars would have to be disinfected by the club before each use. Only one golfer would be allowed in one cart. Players could walk instead. They would not touch flag sticks, and there would be coverings on those flags. Anyone would have to practice social distancing. All clubhouse staff would wear masks, and dining rooms and stores would be closed. Food would only be available for takeout. There would be strict enforcement of these rules once any opening occurs. Again, we're starting to plan for a new normal based on the recommendations of medical experts. There is no start date for any of these openings yet. I first want to hear from our residents, so we're planning a virtual town hall for next week, possibly as early as Monday, and more details will come. Now, helping our unemployed residents remain a top priority for me during this pandemic. Today, our public library started another service to help people who are out of work. They are distributing applications for the state's SNAP food program, as well as for Medicaid and the welfare program called TANF. These 26 county libraries also continue to take applications for state unemployment benefits. So far, they've distributed almost 84,000 applications and received almost 20,000 signed forms that we then sent back to the state. To find out which library is closest to you, call 305-375-2665 or visit miamidade.gov/coronavirus. Our local food programs are continuing as well. Tomorrow, we will have a drive-through food distribution program at Tropical Park. You can find a list of food distribution programs at the county's coronavirus website. For our homebound seniors, we have delivered more than 1 million meals to date. That's right, 1 million meals. We've also started a home testing program for seniors and residents with disabilities who are 18 years or older and are homebound. They can call 305-499-8767 to make an appointment. I've also had some preliminary information to share about the COVID study that we're conducting with the University of Miami. There were about 691 people tested for COVID-19 antibodies in the first week of the program. They represent a geographic cross-section of our county residents. We need to have more testing each week with new groups to get a better picture of the demographic trends. However, there is one finding from this first test group that indicates why it's so important to practice social distancing and to stay safer at home. Here's the bottom line. 60% of those who tested positive for COVID-19 antibodies had experienced no symptoms of having the virus in the 14 days before they took the antibody test. That's why I continue to stress that everyone should act as if they have the virus and practice social distancing and wear masks when inside stores and at construction sites. All the decisions we are making continue to follow medical experts' recommendations, and any future changes in the rules will be strictly enforced. And now I'm happy to take some questions.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Okay, the first question that we have today is from NBC6, Steve Litz.
I know I saw him.
Yes, he's there. Just there's usually a little bit of a delay when we unmute and restart the video. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am. Hello. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, just a quick question regarding the lawsuit filed by the transport workers. I presume you're aware, and what is your reaction, sir?
Look, we can only give the transport workers what we have. There's a huge demand for N95 masks and that kind of equipment, and we're giving them as much as we can, the best that we can. And so we are constantly asking the state to give us more, but a lot of those masks are being prioritized to our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers, hospital personnel that are dealing with these patients. And so I hope they could be a little bit more patient. I understand their frustration, but again, we can only give them what we have.
Mayor, the president of the union did tell us that they're issued one wipe per day.
Yeah, that's because we can only issue what we have. It's not that we're hoarding stuff and not giving it to them. Whatever we have, we'll give it to them, but we also have to prioritize it. We have to prioritize where those supplies go to the people that are on the front line, the ones that are treating the patients, that are responding to those homes, and the hospital workers. And so it's unfortunate, but that's how we have to do things.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on now to Andy Slater with Fox Sports Radio. Andy.
Hi, Mayor. As far as the guidelines that were laid out yesterday by the president and the guidelines you just said, how close are you to?
I just want them to see me.
How close is that to happening? Your phase one.
Well, again, I've got to have a town hall with the residents, get their input, and then talk again with our medical experts. I can tell you that the medical experts feel that the things that the things I've talked about today are very low risk activities, and so I can hopefully move forward with that sooner rather than later.
Part of the phase one on the national scale, the recommendations were to open up restaurants to allow some of the in-restaurant dining. Do you feel Miami-Dade is close to being there?
First, I've got to get my own group together, which I plan to do over the weekend, putting the restaurants, the hospitality, the hotel, the retail group together, and then have them go out with medical experts and put together a set of recommendations on how we can accomplish those things, and then work on a timetable for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. We move on now to Alex Gonzalez with WLRN. Alex, are you there? Okay, I see you there, but I don't know if you're unmuting or you have a question. So we'll move on to Alyssa with NBC6 also. Alyssa?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. Quickly, I know you said that there isn't an exact date yet for starting to relax some of these restrictions on recreational activities, but do you have a time frame for us?
Hello, can you hear me?
So we'll move on to Alyssa. Okay, everybody needs to remember to please mute your devices. Some of you have a little bit of a delay and it's getting confusing there. Alyssa, can you repeat your question, please?
Sure. Mr. Mayor, I know you said that there hasn't been a date yet when you're going to relax these restrictions on the recreational activities, but do you have a time frame that you can tell the community? And then I have a follow-up question.
Well, I don't have a time frame yet, and so what I said was that we were going to have a town hall with the community, hopefully as early as Monday. Then I'll speak to the medical community about the timing of it. Don't have a timetable. I want it to be as soon as possible. As soon as we can safely do it, I want to start easing these restrictions.
All right, and then I do have a follow-up question to some of what you spoke about yesterday with the county's financial position, not only unexpected expenditures, but also revenue losses. As you start to look at the budget and heading into next year, is the county going to be looking at major cuts? Are people going to be losing their jobs? How are you going to address that?
I'm going to be looking at it the same way that I looked at it, unfortunately, my first year as mayor, where we had a $400 million budget deficit. You know, there may be some difficult decisions that we have to take, and difficult services that we may have to cut back on. And so we also have to look and see how much of this is going to be reimbursed by the federal government or state agencies. I know that a lot of the money that we're losing right now at the airport and even at some seaport can be reimbursed. And that we also, these expenses that we're now accumulating because of COVID-19, we expect that to be reimbursed. But there are revenue losses due to the slowdown in the economy that's going to hurt Miami-Dade and our residents. And so those are the numbers I really need to look at, so that we have to have a balanced budget. Unlike the federal government, we can't run a deficit. And so again, I think there's going to be some difficult decisions we have to make in the next budget year.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alyssa. And we have our next question now from CBS 4's David Sutta. David. David, can you go ahead and unmute, and you can start your video if you like. David Sutta, CBS 4. Okay, we will move on then. For now, we'll check back in with him. Doug Hanks from the Miami Herald, you're up.
Sorry, excuse me 1 second. Can you hear me? The video doesn't seem to be working. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how this would work in terms of how a park enjoyment would change? Like, would you be able to play basketball by yourself, but maybe not basketball games? Could you play tennis with singles, not doubles? Like, what details are you having to look at as you map out this future?
Those are some of the details we looked at. Actually, in our conversation is singles tennis okay? Singles tennis appears to be okay. Doubles tennis doesn't appear to be okay. Basketball, single basketball, playing, shooting hoops, yeah, that's fine. The problem is, how are you going to enforce that? And so that's an issue that we have to look at. If you want to, say, practice racquetball by yourself, that's probably going to be okay. If you want to, play some catch with your daughter or your son, that's probably going to be okay, but not have an organized baseball game. You can throw a football. You can probably kick a soccer ball, but you cannot have an organized game. You can't be, less than 6 feet apart. And so those are the things that we're working through right now. And so there's the issue of enforcement too. Although I will say that I want to open up as many activities as it's safe to do, as what the medical experts tell us to do. So, Doug, we actually had that kind of detailed conversation this afternoon.
Can I follow up too? In your past statement, you had mentioned health metrics. Is there going to be some sort of tie to these statistics we're seeing in terms of case growth or hospitalization or ICU or anything like that? Or is this something that could probably just be done now in terms of best practices?
I think there's mixed opinion on that. There are folks that want to see some metrics involved in it, that we need to see a further downturn. But there's also folks that consider, well, these are safe practices to begin with. We might as well we might as well get them going. And so again, I want to get this going as soon as I can. I'd rather see them sooner rather than later. But again, I'm going to listen to my medical experts, at least a consensus from them, to decide when, in fact, we start to do these things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I know that there are a few other news agencies on the call, but I'm not sure if you guys have any more questions in English. So if you do, speak now, please.
Yes, WSVN.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor, thank you for your time. Regarding Dr. Armin Henderson, who was wrongfully arrested, he's saying that the Homeless Trust and the county are not doing enough for the homeless population during the COVID pandemic. What is your reaction?
With members of my staff, including the Homeless Trust, I ask the Homeless Trust every single day, are there things that we should be doing that we can do? Because there are things we can do, there are things we can't do. If there's not enough testing for everybody, then there's not enough testing for everybody. But I always get the response that they seem to be okay. And so everybody has a right to their own opinion. But the folks that run the Homeless Trust and are in my briefing are telling me that yes, that we're doing what we can, and they're satisfied with the steps we've taken.
And if I may, one more question, Mayor. How soon after the peak of the virus will some of the social distancing rules be rolled back?
I don't think you're going to see social distancing rules be cut back until we have a vaccine. So you're looking at about a year from now until we actually do that. Or we have some other kind of mass testing in certain situations. But the problem is that you have to assume that everybody has the virus. As I said in my statement, in this the preliminary findings that we got just from the 690, almost 700 people that we tested, 60% of the people that tested positive had no symptoms whatsoever in the last 14 days. And so everything we've been saying, that you must maintain social distancing, you should be wearing masks when you go inside, confined areas, that's key. Stay safer at home. All those things, they're valid. They've been proven valid by the first 700 folks that we tested.
And final question, if I may. Will you try to limit tourism? If so, how will you do it and for how long?
I mean, that's a question further down the road. Right now, we're just trying to open up Miami-Dade, and then the issue of the hotels and then tourism, etc. I think part of the solution will be with additional testing, and then maybe testing at the point of origin. But right now, our airport's only running at around 5,000, 6,000 passengers a day. That's an issue that we're going to have to take up a little bit later on.
Thanks for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I see WPLG, WFOR, and the Miami Times on the list. So if any of you have a question,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Penny Dickerson at the Miami Times. Hi, Mayor. I wanted to ask, of the 691 tested in this first round, I know that you had tests allotted for the antibody tests allotted for the homeless community. Were any of them included in this 691?
I don't know the specifics of the group. It was supposed to be a random group, and so I would assume, being a random group, that a couple of folks that are homeless, because they would be part of the populations. But I really don't have the answer to that question.
Okay, who would have those answers? University of Miami, perhaps?
Yeah, you can call the University of Miami. Also, our point person for that is Kevin Linsky, who is the director of water and sewer. He may have the answer to that question.
Okay, and then one follow-up question with that, and I think WSVN touched on this regarding the homeless and the Homeless Trust. What directives are you giving Ron Booker regarding the finances and how to address the homeless situation in Miami-Dade County?
I'm sorry, what direction am I giving who?
Ron Booker, in terms of how funding should be allocated to the homeless?
It's Ron Book, but
thank you.
Okay. It's okay. So Ron, the Homeless Trust is a semi-independent organization. They have plenty of funds to do the things that they need to do for the homeless. And also, we're finding hotels, actually all hotels, the whole thing, not just rooms, for them to carry out their function. And so there's not a lack of funding here to provide for the homeless. Sometimes there may be a lack of resources like tests, but the shortage of tests is not just for the homeless, it's for the general population as well. And so we're trying to treat the homeless as well, and we will treat the homeless as well as we treat the general population.
Okay, and that would include getting them out of the tents and into hotels.
Yeah, actually, and give them the tests that as we get them, and as they probably will end up getting a higher percentage of them tested than the general population, because obviously they have a little bit higher risk, and the lifestyle puts them at a little bit higher risk. They're closer together, et cetera. The homeless center itself is more of a dormitory style, but there's testing going on right now in the homeless population and the homeless assistance centers, and we do have homeless that have been allocated to hotel rooms.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Any more questions in English before we move on to Spanish?
I have one more question. Can you hear me? It's Alyssa Hyman from NBC. Going back to the antibody testing program that you guys are doing, I heard 60% that you tested were asymptomatic. Mr. Mayor, what does that tell you about what we're seeing? And does that mean we need to be doing more testing? Do we need to be doing more of this antibody testing? What are your conclusions from this basically first part of it?
Look, I think a lot of people, are hung up on the testing. I think what is important, the finding of the first initial finding is since 60% of the people that tested positive had no symptoms whatsoever. Our message that you must assume that everybody is positive and keep social distancing and to take other measures to protect yourself is valid. And so that's what we need to focus in on. That, we knew that, hey, a lot of people here that have tested positive for this virus or that have had this virus didn't have any symptoms or very light symptoms. And so we can't assume anybody, even if they look great, is not infected. And so, the measures that we want everybody to follow are social distancing, stay safer at home, wash your hands, wear masks when you go into tight quarters. And if we do that, then we're protecting ourselves. And then if we do that, we also are protecting other people because we don't know we have it ourselves. Probably the vast majority of the people that have had it, look at this 60% themselves. So the majority of the people that have had COVID-19 didn't even know they had it. And so that's why we must, practice social distancing and do those things that we've asked people to do.
Hey, Mayor, did you say how many people had tested positive? Like, how many people did test positive for the antibodies?
How many? No, I said 60% of the people who did test positive in that test, this first round anyway, didn't have any symptoms in the last 14 days. No, 60%.
I understand, but why aren't the full results being released? Why are we just getting that statistic?
I think we need the doctor feels that they need another round of testing to make sure you throw out any outlier. But this is a pretty big number. It's probably not an outlier. That 60% of the people that tested positive don't even have symptoms. And so, again, we've known that that's a large number. At this point, it seems to be a pretty big number. So we need one more round to get much better and finite data, and then we can probably start releasing some of the data that we have.
Okay, any other questions in English? Okay, Mayor, take it away in Spanish. Adelante.
Mayor, you muted your mic.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if it was my connection. Okay, so we'll start over again from the top as soon as the mayor's unmuted.
I'm trying to unmute him now. Hold on a second.
Okay.
It's not unmuting. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. From the top.
Buenas tardes a todos. Voy a hablar sobre la nueva normalidad y cómo vamos a ir moviendo hacia eso. Como lo dije el otro día, estamos viendo la luz al final del túnel de la crisis del COVID-19. Por eso hoy me reuní de nuevo con unos de los grupos que estamos trabajando en esta iniciativa. Comenzamos las recomendaciones para ir abriendo los parques en 3 fases. Las marinas, las playas y campos de golf también, siguiendo las recomendaciones de los expertos de salud en cada momento. Las recomendaciones son para la primera fase en parques, abrir los parques durante ciertas horas para actividades pasivas como caminar, correr y disfrutar el espacio abierto. No haber programas en grupo, no permitir grupos de más de 10 personas, mantener la distancia social y el uso de máscaras va a ser recomendado. Y la policía y otros agentes van a estar presentes para que se respeten las reglas. La primera fase para los botes incluye las siguientes recomendaciones. Los botes tienen que estar separados por 50 pies. Dependiendo del tamaño del barco, se puede llevar de entre 4, 6 o 8 personas. En las marinas, las rampas pudieran abrir desde las 6 de la mañana hasta las 8 de la noche. Se tuviera que mantener la distancia social en todo momento. También hemos hablado sobre planes para ir abriendo las playas y los campos de golf. Y vamos a tomar decisiones sobre una línea de tiempo en los próximos días y semanas. Con esta primera iniciativa vamos tomando los primeros pasos hacia una nueva normalidad. La semana que viene vamos a hacer una reunión pública virtual para que nuestros residentes puedan compartir sus ideas sobre esta iniciativa. Por otra parte, les recuerdo que las bibliotecas de Miami-Dade empezaron hoy a repartir aplicaciones para los beneficios de alimentos, Medicare y ayuda económica. Y también todavía pueden buscar las planillas para el desempleo. Para saber cuál es la biblioteca que le queda más cerca, llama al 305-375-2665 o visite a miamidade.gov/coronavirus. Los programas de alimentos locales siguen también. El más nuevo abre mañana en el Tropical Park. Pueden ir en carro a buscar comidas. La información sobre los sitios y fechas y horas están también en miamidade.gov/coronavirus. Cuando se trata de nuestros seniors, les puedo decir que hemos entregado más de 1 millón de comidas en su casa. 1 millón de comidas en su casa. Y para las personas de edad avanzada confinadas a sus casas y otros adultos discapacitados, seguimos en el programa de pruebas en sus casas. Pueden llamar al 305-499-8767 para hacer un turno o una cita. Ahora tenemos alguna información de compartir sobre las pruebas que estamos haciendo con la Universidad de Miami. Durante la primera semana, casi 700 personas se hicieron la prueba representando todas las zonas del condado de Miami-Dade. Queremos por lo menos una semana más del programa para tener datos mejores. Sabemos que el 60% de los que salieron positivos con anticuerpos de COVID-19 no habían tenido síntomas durante los últimos 14 días. Por eso es tan importante seguir las órdenes de distancia social y máscaras. Y todas las decisiones que tomamos van a seguir el aviso de los expertos médicos. Siguen estables los números de pacientes en los hospitales, de las muertes de la pandemia, y eso nos da esperanza que hemos doblado una esquina. Ahora les contesto su pregunta en español.
Gracias, alcalde. La primera pregunta es de Ana Cuervo, de Telemundo 51. Ana.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí, ahora sí.
Alcalde, ¿a partir de qué momento entra en vigencia la reapertura parcial de los parques y las marinas? Y dependiendo de qué, entonces se tomaría el próximo paso de abrir algunos negocios.
Primero vamos a abrir los espacios abiertos. Eso es, ya tenemos el grupo, ya tenemos recomendaciones. Voy a tener una reunión virtual el lunes con el pueblo. Y entonces de ahí vamos a seguir para adelante. Tenemos que hablar con los expertos médicos. No tengo un horario, pero lo más pronto posible lo vamos a hacer.
Gracias, alcalde. La reunión del lunes me dijo que es abierta. Va a ser por video, se pueden enviar preguntas.
Va a ser un Zoom Town Hall Meeting. Eso es lo que en esa manera va a ser, la misma manera que estamos haciendo esto ahora.
¿A qué hora el lunes? ¿Se sabe la hora o todavía?
Todavía, pero vamos a trabajar para hacerlo todo eso el lunes, lo más rápido posible, porque yo quiero llegar a esto lo más rápido posible.
Muchísimas gracias, alcalde, y gracias, Patti.
Ahora pasamos con Jenny Padura de Univisión 23. Adelante, Jenny.
Hola, buenas tardes, Patti, alcalde. Bueno, en referencia a la última pregunta de mi colega, yo creo que en la comunidad hay algo de confusión en cuanto al mensaje del presidente en el día de ayer. Hay mucha ansiedad de saber qué es lo que va a estar abierto, qué es lo que no va a estar abierto. Usted menciona parques parcialmente, marinas, etcétera. Mi pregunta es, ¿para cuándo usted cree que las personas podrán, de cierta manera, sé que va a tardar, pero comenzar a sentir los efectos de una normalidad aquí en el condado Miami-Dade? El gobernador Ron DeSantis dijo esta mañana que estaría reuniéndose con usted, con el alcalde de Broward, pero que quizás el sur de la Florida sería un poco diferente al resto del estado. ¿Qué nos puede decir usted sobre eso?
Bueno, yo creo que el gobernador tiene razón, que el sur de la Florida puede ser puede ser atrasado un poquitico, diferente, porque las reglas un poquitico diferentes, porque aquí hemos tenido la gran parte de los pacientes víctimas de este virus aquí. Los números son mucho más altos aquí porque somos una área urbana. Así que para él tiene decisiones para el estado completo, pero él sabe que el estado de la Florida no es completamente igual. Así que hay partes del estado que son diferentes con el condado de Miami-Dade. Así que, ¿qué yo veo? Yo veo que estamos tratando de llegar a un punto lo más rápido posible, pero sin poner en peligro los residentes de nuestro condado. Y por eso vamos a empezar con los espacios abiertos. Vamos a seguir rápido con recomendaciones sobre las tiendas, los hoteles, también los negocios, etcétera, que no están abiertos ahora, y tratar de abrirlo en una manera u otra lo más rápido posible, pero siempre con reglas que tenemos que seguir hasta que tenemos una vacuna, que va a ser la distancia social, máscaras, etcétera, y hacerlo de una manera que otra vez va a asegurar la salud de nuestros residentes.
Gracias, alcalde. ¿Alguna otra pregunta en español? Okay, no more questions. So with that, we will wrap up English and Spanish, and we will move on.
Yo tenía otra preguntita. I'm sorry, tenía otra pregunta.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead, Jenny.
Alcalde, quería preguntarle algo que es mi percepción personal y también la de otros colegas, y he notado que a diferencia quizás de hace 2 semanas, se está viendo un poco más de tráfico en las calles. No sé si es la percepción de nosotros, que quizás la gente está un poco ya desesperada por el confinamiento en casa. ¿A usted le preocupa eso? Yo realmente sí he visto bastante más tráfico en esta última semana que quizás hace 2 semanas. ¿Usted cree que la gente se está confiando quizás porque se le ha dado la oportunidad de que salgan usando mascarillas y se está poniendo estas reglas del distanciamiento en los establecimientos? ¿Cuál es su mensaje para las personas?
Bueno, el mensaje sigue lo mismo, es más seguro en casa. Yo no estoy preocupado porque personas están en su carro. Me preocupa más si se salen de su carro y no están practicando la distancia social. Porque adentro de tu carro estás safe, no hay problema con eso. Pero no hemos visto que hay violaciones. Todos los días el Departamento de la Policía sale, me da un reporte cuántos negocios han tenido una inspección, han ido a miles de negocios todos los días para ver que las reglas se están siguiendo, y me han dicho que el pueblo está cumpliendo con las reglas. Así que estoy muy orgulloso de este pueblo en la manera que está actuando, que no hemos tenido que poner un toque de queda en el condado de Miami-Dade, que las personas han sido responsables. Siempre van a tener a alguien que no es responsable. Esas personas son las que vamos a tener que enfocar en esas personas, porque la gran mayoría de los residentes están actuando de una manera muy responsable. Y también yo creo que sí, hay personas que han estado en su casa 2 semanas y por lo menos quieren salir a ver algo diferente, y si se quedan en su carro y cuando salen mantienen la distancia social, eso está bien también.
Ok, gracias. ¿Alguna otra pregunta en español para terminar? Ok, gracias. Ahora sí pasamos al intérprete en Creole. Vamos ahora a pasar. Lionel in Cajun Creole will give the mayor's message. Go ahead, Lionel.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you, Mayor.
Bonjour, non pas M. Lionel Le Robot, on va faire une lecture pour nous, déclaration Mayor Carlos Gimenez fait dans l'ouverture conférence de presse jeudi. Bonsoir tout le monde, nous continuons à suivre l'évolution chaque jour hospitalisation COVID-19 là, dans le contexte Miami-Dade, et signe que nous gagnons jusque-là, il y a prometteur assez. Pas gagner aucune décision qui prend pour lever l'ordre que nous te baillons jusque-là, mais nous continuons quand même à prendre tout le monde priorité, puis en sécurité la caille. Et nous gagnons pour nous prendre précaution, si nous voulons aller dans un endroit qui est essentiel, pour nous pratiquer distance sociale, respecter distance 6 pieds une par rapport à l'autre, porter masque. Je dis à moi, j'ai gagné une rencontre avec experts médicaux, pour nous être capable de parler de parc avec espace ouvert, et recommandations que nous sommes capables de faire, soit activités que nous sommes capables de prendre pour nous retourner dans la vie normale. Et ça que nous gagnons, c'est 3 phases pour nous capables de réouvrir parc, recommencer à mettre bateau sous de l'eau, et ensuite réouvrir plage avec terrain golf. Ça, nous va faire toujours avec experts et recommandations que nous avons. L'espace ouvert, il aurait été très important pour santé mentale avec santé physique monde. Cependant, monde qui est âgé, il doit continuer à suivre recommandations CDC. Et à ce moment-là, il doit aller dans le parc avec un masque dans le visage. Il y a une activité qui nous va permettre de fonctionner, activité tennis, et il va fonctionner en tennis simple, avec un seul joueur dans un parti terrain, et le ça nous apprenait que pas gagner un groupe plus passer 10 personnes qui réunissent ensemble. Et la police a fait en sorte que pour faire respecter l'ordre ça. Pas bien sport contact, et quand on basketball, baseball, football que nous jouons dans le pays noir avec football américain, ça nous pas capable de pratiquer. Ensuite, tout ça qui a un rapport avec gym a fermé. Pour bateau, il doit respecter 50 pieds une par rapport à l'autre, pas bien coller ni rapprocher bateau. Et il doit gagner toute limitation au niveau de quantité au pral gagner. Par exemple, si un bateau qui gagne 25 pieds, bateau ça doit gagner maximum 4 personnes là-dedans et puis il doit respecter distance sociale. Nous avons regardé tout pour nous gagner certaines flexibilités pour monde qui gagne une famille qui gagne 5 ou 6 personnes là-dedans qui a vivre ensemble et qui sortent ensemble. Pour bateau commercial yo a gagné un maximum 6 personnes là-dedans y compris capitaine. Dans marina yo, il y a ouvert de 6h du matin à 8h dans la soirée et distance sociale obligatoire pour yo observer. Nous avons discuté tout sur ouverture plage et avec certaines limitations. Idéalement, nous avons fait en sorte que plage l'ouvrir et nous coordonner avec ville qui gagne plage là-dedans, avec comté, Broward County, avec Monroe, avec Palm Beach. Au terrain golf, si machine qui gagne golf là-dedans, il doit désinfecter le club et faire en sorte que un seul joueur monte en même temps, pas gagner plus passer un seul joueur. Ensuite, le clubhouse, faire en sorte que chaque monde qui gagne dans le personnel là porte masque et dans la salle à manger, il a toujours été fermé. Salle à manger a servi seulement pour restaurant, pour monde faire take-out, ça veut dire pour capable prendre plat à emporter. Par contre, pour nous commencer vraiment, parce que le premier bagage qui arrive, c'est que nous devons être des résidents nous et nous avons planifié pour nous capables de rencontre lundi, aussitôt que possible, pour nous capables de tendre opinion. Bibliothèque nous continuer à offrir service pour résidents qui pas de travail. Ils ont distribué applications pour SNAP, programme Manger, pour Medicaid, avec programme Welfare. 26 bibliothèques nous ont continué à livrer applications pour nous capables de faire applications pour bénéfice chômage. Et 84 000 applications qui déjà baillent, 20 000 déjà signées et à pour retourner bail État pour capable de faire suivi là-dedans. Si vous avez besoin qu'on ait bibliothèque qui tout pour là, il y a un bagage qu'on doit faire. Allez dans 305 375 26 65. Ou bien, si vous voulez, aller sur Internet, allez dans miamidade.gov/coronavirus. Manger local, nous continuons avec eux. Demain, nous allons faire en sorte que nous gagnons une distribution manger qui va faire seulement dans la machine, dans le parc tropical. Et distribution ça, si besoin qu'on ait, ça qu'il a donné, aller dans le site web Contea, dans la partie qui est consacrée à coronavirus. Pour le monde qui est âgé, nous avons plus passé 1 million de repas. Et nous faisons en sorte que, semaine passée, nous avons commencé avec un programme pour être capable de faire test pour la caillou, tout grand monde qui est âgé, qui n'a pas quitter la caillou avec monde qui a 18 ans ou soit plus, qui a une infirmité. Pour être capable de prendre un rendez-vous, c'est pour faire 305 499 87 67. Étude qui a fait en collaboration avec l'Université Miami a continué. 691 personnes qui ont reçu test anticorps COVID-19 là. Et nous voulons que le test a continué fait pour nous capables de gagner une très bonne image de tendance démographique qui a développé. Mais une première idée que nous gagnons. 60% de monde qui fait test qui ont trouvé qui positif, 60% de monde ça yo pas gagné aucun symptôme pendant 14 jours qui étaient précédés test anticorps là. C'est peut-être ça n'a insisté, n'a demandé tout le monde pas oublier. Fait tout ça que nous connaissons pour nous comprendre que mettez dans tête nous gagnons virus là comme si nous te gagnions vraiment. Pratiquer distance sociale, mettez masque le nous sorti pour nous aller dans un magasin ou bien dans un site de construction. Décision que nous apprenons pour tout plan ça. Nous apprenons toujours avec recommandations experts médicaux. Merci en pile.
Merci. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.